Since we already focused on the surface area of prisms and cylinders in 11.2, we're going to switch that up a bit in 11.4 by looking at their volumes. So volume in the first place is the space that a figure occupies. It's measured in cubic units, and that can be something like cubic inches, cubic feet, cubic centimeters. Any kind of measurement we're using, we're just making that cubic. Volume of a cube is the cube of its length of its edge, or another way of saying that is the volume is the edge length cubed. Since all those edges are the same, you're basically multiplying the same thing by itself 3 times. You can find the volume of a prism or a cylinder if I know its height and the area of its base. Those are the 2 things we're going to use in the formula. And this formula kind of comes from this principle. We don't use the principle too much, but it's kind of an explanation of the volume formula. 2 space figures have the same height and the same cross-sectional area at every level, then they're going to have the same volume. And we see that in our bottom example. The area of each shaded cross-section below is 6 centimeters squared. And that happens if I have either a right prism, I could have an oblique prism, or I could have a triangular prism. Those all have the same cross-sectional area. Since the prisms have the same height, their volumes must be the same. Basically because I'm using that same area all the way throughout that same height. So that volume's got to be the same no matter what figure that is. I can find the volume of a prism by multiplying the area of the base by its height. So that just means we're looking for 2 things. We're looking for a base area and a height in that formula. And that's going to be the product of those 2. So remember, in that capital B in the formula, it's not just one side for a base, it's the base area. So trying that in the first problem, finding the volume of our rectangular prism, it looks like we're using that volume formula, again, area of the base times its height. And for this, we actually have a few different choices of bases, but I just use the bottom as a base, so bottom and top. And that base area, since it's a rectangle, would just be 24 times 20. So that gives us 480 for a base area. And the height, going from one base to another, would just be 10. So if I multiply those 2 together, 480 times 10, I get my volume, which is 4,800, and that's cubic centimeters. Trying that again this time with a triangular prism, still the same formula. We're still doing the base area times the height. Just means it's going to take a little bit more work to find the area of the base if I have a triangle. So looking at the bases, I have a triangle on the left, triangle on the right. I have sides labeled 8, 8, and 8 also if I look at the other side, which means if I look at that triangle as a base, 8, 8, and 8 means that's an equilateral triangle. So if all the sides are the same, that means my angles will be a 60 in the corner. And if I'm trying to find the height, I can split that triangle in half and look at this as a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So then we're just remembering that if I split that 8 in half, this bottom side would be a 4. And if I want to find the height, since that's the side that's opposite my 60-degree angle, we're going back to our 30, 60, 90 rules. That's the short side times rad 3. So that would be 4 rad 3 for the height. Now if I'm trying to find the base area, again, the formula for a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So if I use 8 as the bottom and 4 rad 3 as the height, 1/2 8 times 4 rad 3, that should give us 16 rad 3 for the base area of that triangle. And the height, again, doesn't have to go up and down as long as I'm going from one base to the other. Height here would just be 10. So if I'm multiplying those together, 16 rad 3 times 10, I could leave that either as a radical for an answer, or to the nearest whole number, that should be about 277, and that's cubic inches. So let's try it one more time with another triangular prism. This one's actually, I think, a little bit easier. We're still using the same formula because it's still the volume of a prism, so that's base area times height. This time for the base area, I don't have to look for a height. I should be given that height. Since I'm using a right triangle, I can use 6 as a base, 10 as a height, or vice versa, and that means the base area 1/2 base times height would just be 30. And the height here, again, as long as I'm going from one base to another, so front triangle to back triangle is a length of 5, that height is going to be 5. Multiply those 2 together, 30 times 5, I get 150 for a volume of that prism. So on the back side of this, we're going to be expanding on that, looking at a cylinder, which is really pretty much the same rule. Find the volume of that cylinder, we're still going to use that same formula, volume equals base area times height, and we use that again to use the prism, but now we're also using that for a cylinder. Because this time, base area is always going to be a circle since we're always dealing with cylinders. So again, that formula, base area times height, same as your prism, but we can be more specific since your base is always the same, it's always a circle, it's always going to be pi r squared times height for a cylinder. So if I'm trying that in the first example, if I know the radius and the height given, all I really have to do is use substitution. Again, that rule for a cylinder, base area times height is pi r squared times height. So if the radius is 3 and the height is 8, I'm just substituting those in, and that should give me 72 pi, and that's cubic centimeters. Same idea if I have an oblique prism in the next example, still pi r squared times height for the volume. This time we just got to be a little bit careful. It's labeling 2, but that's a diameter, so that means our radius is half of that. Our radius is 1. And our height is still 3 as long as it's perpendicular from one base to the other. So if I substitute those in, pi times 1 squared times 3, that just gives me 3 pi, and that would be in cubic meters. So last problem type we'll have here is what we call a composite space figure. And that's a three-dimensional figure that's a combination of two or more simpler figures. So we kind of had these in 2 dimensions, but 3 dimensions works kind of the same way. We're going to find the volume of that composite figure by adding the volumes of each together. Kind of like we added the areas together when it was just 2 dimensions. So if I'm trying to find the approximate volume of this aquarium, if I break this aquarium up into simpler space figures, I could use a rectangular prism, and also I could use, looks like a half cylinder there. So if I'm going to find the approximate volume, again, that's where I'm just adding those two together, and I can find those volumes separately. So to find the volume of that prism, remember that's base area times height. So to find the base area, I used the 24 times 36 for that rectangle, gave me 864. The height going from top to bottom is 24. So if I multiply base area times height, I should end up with, looks like, 20,736. Trying the cylinder this time, actually it's a half cylinder, so I can't use pi r squared h. I have to throw a 1/2 in front because we're cutting off the other half of that cylinder. We still are given all we need for it. We have a radius of 12. Looks like the height is 24. So if I take those measurements and substitute them in my equation, I should end up with 1,728 pi in terms of the volume. So if I want to look for a combined volume of the aquarium, I'm just adding those two separate volumes together, and we can round that to the nearest whole number. I think that should come out to 26,165, and that would be in cubic inches. Make sure we have these down. Go ahead and try those practice problems, and we'll see how we can do on this in class.